We just got back from our shakedown trip and it's time to change all the things we want to change from our shakedown trip. Spoiler, it's a lot. Let's go get the boxes. Okay, well, as you can see, Santa Amazon strikes again. So as you can see, we had quite a bit of stuff that's been delivered the last week. We just got back from our shakedown trip. If you wanted to see how that went, go check out one of the previous videos. The RV was put back into storage, aka the back pasture, and I just pulled it back up because we're getting ready to head out. And I wanted to go through and install a bunch of this stuff. Now, not everything in that pile or purchase or the things that we wanted to really change and install were necessarily something I have to install. Some of it's just stuff I needed and I got to find a place for it. So we're going to knock that stuff out pretty quick and first. So like I said, a few things that I need, but I'm not necessarily going to show you how we install it because I'll show you where it goes eventually. But I talked about needing a couple of new sewer connectors. We have plenty of hose, but my little 45 degree that comes off the RV side that's clear was a casualty of the move. And then I also got a new toy. This is the Camco Rhino Sewer Connector Pro. So this goes into the actual campground sewer connection. And from there, you pull this lever back and it expands. So I need to find a place for these on the RV. I'm actually really excited about that in a weird way. Also, a few other kind of random things. I wanted us both to have chargers. So we both picked out phone chargers for the nightstands that'll just live in the RV. A bunch of cables because I keep losing cables everywhere. So before we get this stuff installed on the Delta, Memorial Day is just around the corner. Do us a favor, check out our favorite people on the planet. They've supported this channel for a long time. RVmattress.com by Brooklyn Bedding is running some of their biggest sales of the year. We've been super spoiled in our RVs with getting some of the best night's sleep we've ever gotten. And now that we're only part-time RVers and we purchased a home, naturally for us, we wanted to make sure that we kept sleeping as well as we have in our RVs. So even though we moved into a house, we wanted to go back to where we got our mattresses from, RVmattress.com from Brooklyn Bedding.
And this time we splurged on the adjustable bases. Have you ever woken up on a rainy Saturday morning and just wanted to lounge in bed and watch TV? Now, this makes it a little bit more comfortable and you're not just laying flat to do that.
Plus for me, I don't have the best back in the world and sometimes just propping 2, 3, 4, 12, whatever, pillows behind me doesn't exactly help support my back in any, so if I'm gonna sit up in bed, now I actually have the support of the mattress. So this time around, we actually chose to do the split king mattress because, shocker, we're very different people. And have very different needs. I like a very firm mattress, so I did that on my side.
And I like to sleep in a cloud, basically. Now, I did the medium, but we both did the cloud pillow top on this, which has cooling technology in it, because while we're very different, we both sleep very warm. And this stuff is cool to the touch. We had it in our last one and loved it.
Speaking of the last one, this is not our only RVmattress.com from Brooklyn Bedding. We obviously have the split king now in our house. Our guests that come to stay with us here, if they choose to not sleep in their RV and they want to sleep in the house, will also be sleeping on a firm king size version of this mattress with the cloud pillow top. And last but not least, in our brand new RV, guess what?
But wait, there's more.
We also have an RVmattress.com from Brooklyn Bedding mattress in that RV. We weren't joking when we say we love these things.
We really do. So they have several different models with different kind of amenities, if you will, about it, and several sizes. Ask us, we have several of them. But they do, and some of those unique RV sizes too, so that's really important. But if you're still kind of hesitant, remember they do have that 120-night sleep trial and a limited lifetime warranty.
Also, all their mattresses are designed, assembled, and shipped from their factory in Arizona, where they have been making mattresses for over 25 years.
And don't forget, shipping is free to your front door.
In the US.
Important, I guess.
So if you're interested in getting a better night's sleep, whether it's in your house or your RV, check out rvmattress.com/Millers in Motion. You know what they get if they go that route as well?
30% off.
Regardless of what the website is giving you, which sometimes they do 30% off, like around President's Day, but like right now I think it's 25. Take the extra 5%.
Do it.
Also, if you're watching this on a TV, you can scan that QR code that's right down there on the screen to make it nice and easy. Thank you so much to RVMattress.com from Brooklyn Bedding for sponsoring this video and being a longtime supporter of the channel. Now, back to whatever we were doing previously. What are we going to tackle today as far as installing things on the rig? I have snap pads. I've got new struts for the bed because our bed from our great sponsor that you just watched the video from is a little heavier now. I have an Apple TV mount. I have a new trailer Breakaway because that one's just, quite frankly, it's ticking me off. I have a lot of stuff. As you can see, there's not just one thing. So in this video, we're going to talk a little bit about some of the things that initially kind of annoyed us with the Delta and how we're solving those problems. And then on top of that, things that kind of every RVer, or if you have a similar setup with a similar mechanical component, but a different RV, that you can learn how to overcome. All right, I'm going to start with by far the thing that seems to annoy me the most. You know me by now, and I know the rig is dirty. It's going to get a bath before we leave in a little bit, but it's supposed to rain later. Is this. For one, that, which I don't have a solution for yet, how it just flopped. I love MoreRide. I love this tray. I'm not the biggest Griddle fan, but I understand why they do it. But you see what just happened there? So when you go to pull this out, you can see the little wear marks. It catches. Now this griddle comes further out, which I love that because it gets it further away from the RV. But let me show you something else. You're getting the horses in the background too. So this is the griddle, but it's upside down. So one, this is heavy. Two, to properly use it, you have to turn it this way. Okay, well, if it hit upside down, now that you have this huge lip, what do you think is going to happen? So that's as far as it goes. So I had a couple of different ideas on kind of how to resolve this. One last little complaint is you see these wear marks. So that's not great for cast iron. So essentially when it's traveling upside down, yes, these come over here, but it rubs here. So if you know anything about cast iron, that's really bad. Like, that's a bad idea. I don't know if this griddle is actually good or not. At one point we talked about just replacing it with a grill. It got a little overcomplicated, and because we're not living in it, I kind of chose to just hold off for a little bit, because I'll eventually probably buy something that I just take in the bed of the truck that I can smoke and do a lot more with because I enjoy cooking. So for now, we're just going to make this work. And so I was trying to figure out essentially how to make this work. So option one was just cut this. Well, I kind of started thinking about it. And I'm like, well, I wonder if that has lateral support when this is fully extended. And so I think it does. I was still willing to try and cut it. You can see the rest of the accessories there. I'm going to move those in a little bit. But I do think that it needs that lateral support when it's fully out. Otherwise, it could potentially kind of cave in on itself, and then you have another problem. So I think I came up with a decent solution. I don't know if it's a great solution, but it's a solution. Okay, so this is actually a griddle cover / carrying case that I got from Blackstone, and I purchased it. I did hear some reviews that it can be a little small compared to what they say, so I'm hoping the griddle fits. It looks like it should, hypothetically, but the idea is I'll put the griddle, when I'm not using it, actually in this bag. I also bought like a silicone topper for this. It's just not here yet, so that like whatever's on here won't get on the bag as bad. And then what I'll do is I'll just slide it in on top up there. I will probably need to get something to keep it from sliding around too much, but I want to see if this even fits for starters, because if it doesn't fit, then none of this was relevant. So the one cool thing about this is, and I didn't even know this when I bought it, the inside's like a plastic material, and it'll keep it from getting too grimy, if you may. All right, let's see how to do this. Okay, so it does fit. The bag is a little big, and I don't care. I'd rather it be a little bit too big than not big enough. The question is will it fit up here or not? I wonder if it'll fit upside down. This solution may not have worked, so uno momento until I figure this out. Okay, well, unfortunately this isn't going to work. So the feet catch on the lip here, and that's not really going to be an option. So it's just not a good design. And I will say, it's kind of dumb, actually, now that I say it out loud. So either something else needs to be used, or a different slide that MORryde may have needs to be used, but it's not working. So I would argue just a plain grill is probably the way to go here. For now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pull out the case, and we're just going to store it in that front storage bay, because we're leaving, well, in like 2 days. So one other thing I am going to do at some point today is season the griddle. I'll show you how I do that, but we're going to move on to the next thing first, because there's some rain moving in, and I want to, that's not a huge priority. So on to the next. Okay, another genius design. Again, whoever decided to switch to this griddle, and maybe it's just they ran out and they just stuck one on here, but I know a lot of the other campers don't have this one. They've got like that combo unit. I don't have a problem with a different griddle, but you see the connector here. Well, you see how big this is. I mean, how in the hell? This is one of those things that during PDI, somebody should have gone, hey, this doesn't work. So this, quite honestly, is pretty frustrating, because I want to use this outside, but, and that's fixed, in case you were curious. You can't turn the 90, because that was my first thought, is I'll just turn it the other way. Nope, can't do that. That would have made sense. So I'm officially giving up on the griddle. I'm probably just going to rip the whole thing out and use it as storage. So that became way more complicated than it needed to be, and I need an easy win. So enter a dog bone. This one might look a little different. So essentially, this is really more for the house than it is the RV. I mean, it's for the RV, but it's a 50 amp connector, but to a 110. So we don't yet have a 50 amp output on the side of the house. That will come. It is happening. But for now, we just want to know that we can turn the fridge on and kind of trickle charge the batteries overnight, so that when we're getting ready for a trip, we can go ahead and pack the fridge the day before. So with that, we're just going to run an extension cord to the rig, plug this into the side of the rig, and that'll kind of keep it topped off. Now, a couple things you need to know about this little adventure is, if you try to run any amperage over what this is rated for, or your breaker is rated for that you're plugging it into, in that scenario, it's either a 15 or a 20. For us, it's a 20. But like the outlet I'm going to use also has a camera plugged into it, a security camera. So yeah, I'm probably going to unplug that just to make sure I have full wattage, or I'll run an extension cord from a different outlet that doesn't have anything on it, because if there's something else on that GFCI line in the house or the building or wherever you're plugging it in, and you try to run it into the coach, it's already got a load on it from over there, then your rig's going to put more load on it. So just understand your wattage, amperage, all that good stuff usage before you just start using one of these, because it will pop the breaker if you don't, hopefully. It's the idea, at least. Okay, so for the purposes of this, I have a very long extension cord here. Now, one thing I will tell you is, typically when you're plugging something like this in to a coach, you wouldn't want to have a live wire. So because I can't reset that breaker or turn that breaker off because other things are on it, bloop, I'm just going to unplug it like that, put this in first, and then plug it in. Okay, I am plugged in. Ta-da! I heard the beep inside the rig that it actually received the power, and I do not see that we have popped any breakers. At least that's what I'm going to go check on now. Yep, and no breakers are popped. All of them are in the on position, none showing a fault. Again, just to reiterate, if you choose to do that, just make sure you have to be very aware of the amperage you're putting on it, because that breaker is the only thing standing between, well, bad things happening and your RV or house or whatever you're plugging into. So be very, very aware of the amperages you're using if you do this. All right, what do I want to tackle next? Let's knock out some kind of quick and easy ones, like throwing some stuff in the RV that doesn't really take a lot of effort. All right, welcome inside the RV and welcome to the boudoir, bedroom. I don't know why I'm this weird. So one of the things I've wanted to do, so we have the swivel TV in here. This kind of goes for the one out there too, but When Alliance put this together, you can kind of see it's a little bit of a cluster of wires, and it prevents this from snugging up back there pretty nicely. So I'm going to redo some of that. Plus, I have a Apple TV mount that I'm going to put literally right there so that it can stick. So let me do that, and I'm just going to show you the after on this one. Okay, so as you can see, it's no longer tied right here. Everything's zip tied up here out of the way behind this plate. There's a few things that hang over, but that's fine. More importantly, they're out of the way because this part right here is a bracket that attaches to this. That's what keeps everything here when we're on the road. So another thing we'll do is I will add an Apple TV. That's going to come and go with us because it's the one that I use from my office, and it'll plug in up there. But I'll put this here, and I will have a very short HDMI. I've got like a 1-footer for this kind of stuff. And yeah, that's it. So that's all cleaned up nicely, and it's a lot easier now to get that attached to the back. I don't know if you can see it or not, but I am sweating through this hat. It was 100 degrees in Texas yesterday. It's already hot. I don't understand why. Also, I'm realizing I have a lot of stuff I'm going to do, so there's a good chance I'm going to break this up into a couple of videos now. So I'm going to unpack some of this stuff, like the charging cables and all that, and stick them where their new homes are going to be. So I bought this kit of a bunch of USB Type A to USB Type Cs. Some of them are really, really short. Some of them are longer, like 8 feet. So one of them is for here, for my nightstand, so I can charge my phone with one of these two things. Lauren's got one, but let me show you the spot that I actually really need one. So over here, there is a USB charger up there, but this is typically where we put our hotspot. So I'm going to stick one there as well, so I don't have to keep on remembering to bring chargers for everything. I can just kind of grab the core things and then come over and turn them on and plug them in. So that will help me out a ton. Also, we've been getting this question a few times. Some people saw it in the last video. This set of stairs is different than our back one. They're both MORryde step above, but these are the thin mount ones. I don't like them as much as stairs, but what I do like is they take up about 1/2 to 1/4 of the space here in the bedroom, so that when we are staying somewhere overnight and we don't need to put them out, they're not as in the way. So instead of having to climb into bed, yes, that's my sweaty arm mark. Instead of having to climb into bed, I can still walk around. It's tight, but it's better than having to crawl from over here. That way, if I have to get up in the middle of the night to use the restroom or something, I don't have to kind of crawl and bother Lauren as much. Okay, so I'm up here by the front, and my trailer breakaway, it came with trailer breakaway. There we go. Came with a traditional, just long line, and it kept getting in the way. So I replaced it with this. One thing that you need to be aware of is that needs to be shorter than the length of your chains. And some people will like twist their chains. When you twist your chain, you're shortening the length of your chain. So you kind of need to know what that length is, because if something were to happen and the hitch were to fail, there's two things you want to have happen. One, you want your chains to catch the trailer to keep it from hitting other people. It's going to run into the back of your truck, but you're already kind of in a spot to begin with, so it is what it is. And you want your trailer brakes to engage all the way and help bring it to a stop. So that needs to be able to pull out. So there are different lengths of those. That one is 4 feet. And I plan on wrapping it around the hitch a little bit too. I'm going to see once we hook up for the first time, but they make a lot of 6-footers, and that's really meant for trailers that sit further back. But you really need to measure from where the trailer brake controller is forward on yours and figure out what length you actually need. Don't just buy the first one you see, because if that doesn't engage, the trailer's not going to stop until it runs through you. So just one of those think through before you do situations. Okay, so this wasn't necessarily on the thing that I needed to buy and put, but it was on something I needed to fix. So this door, these are those little stairs that go up into the bedroom that we don't put out all that much. But this door, when the stairs were down, always kind of caught weird here at the bottom. And it was actually pushing the door frame out right there. And then it was super hard to get that open. Well, now it's a lot easier. Turns out, and after doing my research, there was a little tab that was down here, and I couldn't figure out what it was. My thought was it was blocking these screws, which the screws are for, well, it's for this, and then they messed up and put screws back in, which, no comment. So this was here originally. They moved it over here because this was here, and there's a door there that they can't do that to. So, yeah, they moved that inside, did that. So originally I thought that little plastic piece, it was like a wedge, was there, but it's not. Turns out it was part of the shipping material. So because it was part of the shipping material, I just made sure it didn't need to be there for any reason. Like it's not, there's not one on the front, or the back door, which is technically our front door. The door we go in the most. So now that it's there, it closes and opens so much better. So that was just a oopsie in the manufacturing process as far as not taking that off, to the best of my knowledge. So, okay, on to some more other easy stuff. All right, so one of the things we found lacking was kind of a twofer, but it was an easy one, was a bottle opener, because I couldn't open a beer, and a can opener. So we bought one at Target the other day. It's very simply going to go, nope, it's very simply going to go right there. Yay, another one done. All right, I don't know if this is last, but this is one of those random ones. So we have stuff in our pockets when we come home, and we dislike things on counters. We like very clean lines, not a lot to it. So we bought hooks. So this is our entryway. There's outside. This is that little control panel, and we figured up here is a good spot for some keys. Oop, there you go. We figured up here is a good spot for some keys, so we just bought these little teeny weeny command hooks. We've used them for keys and stuff before, but we figured we could probably put 4 of them up here. That way we can hang our keys when we first come in. With that, thank you so much for joining us this week and these kind of quick little tips. I've got more because I'm working on this rig a lot. So join me tomorrow. The weather's going to be about the same, so hopefully it's not raining. And we're going to knock out some bigger things that I really want to do. So until next week, bye, Mom.